This is Jarrod Horak, and I'm back with my final video this week. I covered some Oaks and Derby points races in my previous videos this week, and now I'm going to do the Pegasus World Cup from Gulfstream Park in this video. Now, this Pegasus World Cup, along with 5 other stakes races, the Rainbow Six races, will be part of my full card at Santa Anita Park for Saturday, January 28th, along with a Derby and Oaks points race from Oaklawn Park and the Golden Hour races from Golden Gate Fields. So I have a lot of races on that full card, a lot of bonus races in addition to my Santa Anita full card that we'll be offering for Saturday, January 28th. And if you're interested in those full cards, you can head on over to therunawayhorse.com. You will find those Santa Anita Park full cards with bonus races on my sales page. So check out that sales page for additional information. So now let's get into the analysis of this video, and I'm going to be doing the 13th race at Gulfstream Park, the Grade 1 $3 million Pegasus World Cup Invitational, 4-year-olds and up, 1 1/8 on the main track, scheduled post time 5:40 p.m. Eastern Time, full field in here, beginning with number 1, Proxy, for trainer Mike Stidham. And he's very consistent. He's run 13 times, and he's finished in the top 3 in 11 of 13. He finally picked up that Grade 1 win last time out in that Clark Stakes at Churchill Downs at this 1 1/8 distance from the inside post. He tracked the pace from second, and he won by 3/4 of a length under Joel Rosario. He's hit the board in a bunch of stakes races. He was in the Grade 2 Stephen Foster. He was third. The Blame Stakes and the Ben Ali Stakes, he was second and third. The New Orleans Classic, a Grade 2, he was second. And in the Lexington Stakes, the Louisiana Derby, the Risen Star Stakes, the Lecomte Stakes, he was second in 2 of those and fourth in 2 of those. So he's usually in the mix. And from this inside post, he certainly should sit a good trip. He's run 6 times at 1 1/8, and he's finished in the top 3 in all 6 of those races with 1 victory. So I think he's going to sit a great trip, saving ground behind the speed, and he's going to be in the mix. He doesn't win that often, but it was nice to see him get that Grade 1 last time out, and I think he can certainly finish somewhere in the top 4 in here. Simplification is another one I think that at least has a shot to hit the board because he likes this oval. 8 starts at Gulfstream, 3 wins, a second and 3/3. A third place finish last time in the local prep race for this, the Grade 3 Harlan's Holiday at 1 1/16 on December 31st. Stalked the pace from post 4, just finished in even third. He's won a couple races last year at Gulfstream Park. He won the Fountain of Youth Stakes and the Macho Man Stakes. He was second in the Holy Bull and third in the Florida Derby. So he's one that he's always in the mix at Gulfstream, but he is 0-3 at this distance. So I think less distance is probably a little bit better for him. Ridin with Biden is the next one, and he'll probably be a pace factor. He's got some decent early pressing speed. He was good last year. In 2022, he had 9 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Earned a bit less than $300,000, and then he's 1 for 1 this year. He won a little stakes race at Parks on January 4th in the Slop, a little $75,000 race. He won the Turkey Trot Stakes at Parks on November 23rd, and he won a Grade 3 1.5 race at that same oval in September. And then the Deputed Testimony Stakes at Laurel last year at this 1 1/8 distance, he went wire to wire. So with that early pressing speed and an inner post, I think that they're going to try to get involved early here, but I think he's probably up against it. He's 0-2 at Gulfstream Park. From a class standpoint, he could be in a bit of trouble. White Abarrio is 4-4 at Gulfstream Park. He broke his maiden at Gulfstream, September 2021. That fall, he won an optional claiming race at Gulfstream, and then last year he won the Holy Bull easily and then the Florida Derby. So he's 4-4 at Gulfstream, but when he doesn't run at Gulfstream, he doesn't win. He's 0-6 everywhere else. The 1 1/8 distance shouldn't be an issue. He won the Florida Derby. I like his tactical speed. He's got a good post position. Tyler Gaffalione, he was aboard for the Holy Bull and the Florida Derby, and then also the Ohio Derby, and he rode him in the Kentucky Derby as well. So he's ridden him multiple times. He's won twice aboard this one. There's some things to like here at 10-1 odds. Defunded, shipping in from the West Coast for trainer Bob Baffert. He's going to be a pace factor. I think when they can get him out there and he can get into an early rhythm, that's the key to this horse. If he doesn't do that, he gets to be in a bit of trouble. In the 1 1/4 Grade 1 Gold Cup at Santa Anita, May of 2022, he got out there, he controlled the pace, and he was second best that day. The San Diego Stakes, he ended up battling on the pace but weakening, and then the Pat O'Brien at Del Mar, the same thing happened to him there. But then when he got out there in the Awesome again and was able to control the pace, that Grade 1 at Santa Anita at 1 1/8, he wired the field. And then last time out in the Native Diver, he pressed the pace. The pace was relatively fast, and then he kept on going, and he won by almost 5 lengths as the heavy favorite. So look for him to, under his new rider, Jarrod Ortiz Jr., get right out of the gate and try to impact the pace in here. That's the key to him. If he can get out there and he's able to clear, and he's just out there by himself, and it's a speed favoring track, he certainly could make some noise in here. Art Collector is another one that likes to get involved early. He's number 6 and he's 10-1. He's 10 for 20 lifetime, and he's 7 for 9 at 1 1/8. He's never run at Gulfstream Park. He won the Charlestown Classic last summer at Charlestown in August, and he also won that race of August of 2021. And so he kind of wins the same races every year. The same with the Alydar Stakes at Saratoga at 1 1/8. He won that race in 2021. He won that race in 2022. So he's one that certainly loves this distance, likes to get involved early. His new rider is going to be Junior Alvarado, and he should impact the pace. In his last start in the Lucas Classic, he was disappointing. He got out there, he took some money, but he couldn't keep going. He was 5th in a 6-horse field. Skippylongstocking likes Gulfstream. He's 3 for 8 at Gulfstream, and he's won a couple times at this distance. And he seemed to get better last year when they stretched him out. He was in a bunch of one-turn mile races when they stretched him out to 1 1/8 in an optional claiming race at Gulfstream last March. He sat back and forth, and he won easily. The Wood Memorial at 1 1/8 at Aqueduct, he ended up finishing 3rd there. That was a solid effort behind Mo Donegal in early voting. Mo Donegal came back and won the Belmont Stakes. Early voting came back and won the Preakness Stakes. And in the Preakness Stakes, Skippylongstocking ended up finishing 5th in a 9-horse field. In the Belmont Stakes, he finished an okay 3rd at 11-1. The West Virginia Derby, he won that race. The Pennsylvania Derby, he was no threat, 9th beaten 15 lengths. He bounced back in the Harlan's Holiday Stakes at Gulfstream Park last time. He pressed the pace from post 7 in an 8-horse field. He won by more than 2 lengths. Jose Ortiz gets aboard, and he should probably stalk the pace while out in the clear. Get Her Number is going to try a longer distance in here. Not sure about this added real estate, but he's certainly in good form. He was 2nd beaten ahead in the Cigar Mile last time out in the slop. Prior to that, optional claiming race at Del Mar at 6 furlongs. I thought maybe 6 furlongs would be too short for him, but he won that one by a head, just getting up. Ginobili was 2nd. Ginobili was a stakes winner in his next start. Forbidden Kingdom was 3rd. He's a quality speed horse for trainer Richard Mandela. He's a stakes winner in the past as well. So in the Pat O'Brien Stakes, he was no threat. The Bing Crosby Stakes at 6 furlongs, he ran out of ground. He rallied to finish 2nd. Go back to the Triple Bend Stakes last year. He rallied to finish 3rd there at 7 furlongs. So I'm not sure about the 1 1/8 distance, but he does have some decent speed ratings that he earned around 1 turn. Last Samurai is the 9 for trainer D. Wayne Lucas. Good effort last time in the Tinsel Stakes at 1 1/8 at Oakland Park. Stalked the pace, missed by a neck. He was putting Lasix back on. He loses Lasix in this spot. He's 1 for 8 at 1 1/8 with a 2nd and 2/3. I think this is probably a bit too tough for him. He was in the Grade 2 Fayette. He was 3rd beaten 7. Charlestown Classic, he was 5th beaten 12. The Stephen Foster Stakes last summer, he was 7th beaten 16 lengths. He did win the Oaklawn Handicap last April at 12-1 odds, right up on the pace throughout. But I still think overall in this Grade 1 race, he's probably a bit overmatched. He's going to be stalking wide under Frankie Dettori. Number 10, Cyberknife is your morning line favorite. He's very consistent. He's run 12 times, 5 wins, 4 seconds, and a 3rd. So he always shows up and runs a good race, at least most of the time, but not in the Kentucky Derby. That race, the pace fell apart. He was stalking that pace from post 16. He retreated just like anybody else that was up on the pace that day. His only other poor effort was in the Grade 3, the Comp Stakes of January of 2022, 6 beaten 10 lengths. Now, he's a 2-time Grade 1 winner at this 1 1/8 distance. He won the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby at Oakland Park last fall. Then he won the Matt Winn Stakes. That was a Grade 3. And then he won the Grade 1 Haskell at 1 1/8. He was 2nd in the Travers, 3rd in the Pennsylvania Derby, and then he just missed in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He had an outer post. He was stalking wide. I think that was the difference between winning and losing there. And that could be the difference with him again here. With that outer post, he just could be stalking wide, and maybe one of the horses with a little bit of a better draw will save a bit more ground than him. From a value standpoint, not going to offer a ton of value. He is a solid contender in here based on his consistent form and 2 Grade 1 wins at 1 1/8. Stilleto Boy is the next one. He ran in this race last year, and he was third, beaten 4 lengths. Life is Good ended up winning that day. Nick's Go was second. Stilleto Boy was a clear third. But he had an inner post there. He was from post 3, and he was able to set a good inside tactical trip. Proxy's probably going to steal that kind of trip this year. Stilleto Boy from post 11, a wide stalking trip's not going to work in this spot. He has run 3 times in a mile and an eighth with a win, a second, and a third. He exits a second place finish in the Grade 2 San Antonio, December 26th at Santa Anita Park. Going to have to run much better than that. His speed ratings have dropped off recently. He did win the Californian last year with a decent speed rating going wire to wire. I just don't think he's going to be able to steal this race. There's some other horses with some speed, with better post positions that are going to take advantage of those posts and get out there. O'Connor is number 12. He looked really good in his U.S. Debut at Gulfstream Park on October 16th of last year when he rallied from off the pace and he won by more than 6 lengths. They made him the favorite in the Harlan's Holiday, but he was just an even fourth there. And he had the inside post there, really no excuse. Now he's going to be out in post 12. Not a good post position for this one. And then Endorsed is then also eligible, number 14. He's not going to get into this race most likely. And even if he does, that post position is really going to do him in. He was in this race last year, and he ended up finishing 4th, beaten 9 lengths at 85-1 odds. And he broke a long losing streak in an optional claiming race last time at 7 furlongs at Gulfstream. Always liked this one. He was on my Derby list way back when he was a 3-year-old. He's a 7-year-old now. Actually, he was on the Derby list when he was a 2-year-old, and then he never really made the Triple Crown Series. But he's had a good career. He's banked more than $700,000, but he probably won't get in. He does like Gulfstream Park, and he's over 3 with 2 seconds at this distance. So that's a look at all of the entrants in the Pegasus World Cup. Definitely, Cyberknife's the one to beat. He should work out an okay wide stalking trip. It's just a question of horses towards the inside just having better trips than he does, and with that lost ground, will he be good enough to overcome that? He's certainly fast enough on paper to win this race, but no value there really. Skippylongstocking, if he can run to a like, certainly worth considering. Defunded, I said if he can get loose, he's one that you can use. Maybe some others towards the inside. Proxy, I think, is going to work out a great trip. I'm just not quite sure he's good enough to win a race like this, but I think he can hit the board. And then if you're playing super factors, I think you might want to throw in Simplification. I'm going for a value top choice in here. I'm going to go with the horse for course, White Abarrio, as my top choice. I've been waiting for him to get back to Gulfstream Park for a long time, and he did not embarrass himself at all in the Cigar Mile last time. 3rd, beaten a half length. I think maybe that race was a little bit too short for him, and he caught a wet track too. But he hung in there, and he just doesn't win at other venues. But as I said, he's 4 for 4 at Gulfstream, and 2 of those wins were stakes victories. And I just think that he's got that tactical speed. He's got an inner post. He's reconnecting with Tyler Gaffalione, rides him well. He's firing bullets for this. It's just worth a shot to play him at 10-1 odds. So I definitely want to make a win in place bet on him. And I'll play some exotics. Like I said, I'm definitely going to be throwing in other contenders like Proxy, Simplification in maybe 3rd and 4th. Defunded, I'm going to throw into my exotics. Skippylongstocking, and I'll also use Cyberknife for sure. But my top choice is going to be White Abarrio in the 2023 Pegasus World Cup. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this content. And that will wrap up this video. Stay tuned to my YouTube channel each week that they run the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks points races. I cover those in video format. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.